You think success is about having the perfect idea. You think investors make or break a startup. But what if I told you that selling cereal saved Airbnb, and that trust, not money, was the real game changer? Tonight we dive into how three broke guys turned air mattresses into a billion-dollar empire. In 2007, two struggling designers in San Francisco, Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, realized they couldn't afford rent, like at all. A design conference was in town, hotels were packed, and desperation is the mother of invention. So they did what any financially wrecked genius would do, threw some air mattresses on the floor, called it a bed and breakfast, and charged attendees to sleep over. Turns out, people were weirdly into it. Sensing potential, they roped in Nathan Blecher-Zeek, a software engineer, to build a platform where strangers could crash at other strangers' places. Great idea, right? Not really, because convincing people to invite internet randos into their homes was a tougher sell than gas station sushi. No one trusted the concept, and by 2008, they were broke again. Investors weren't biting, so they pivoted into breakfast cereal. Yes, really. They designed and sold novelty boxes called Obama O's and Captain McCain's, cashing in on election hype and making $30,000, enough to keep Airbnb alive. But the real breakthrough? Listings had terrible photos, so they personally visited hosts, took professional pictures, and boom, bookings skyrocketed. The lesson? People trust what looks good. Then came Y Combinator, one of Silicon Valley's most elite startup accelerators. Airbnb got accepted, received mentorship, and some much-needed cash. But more importantly, it forced the founders to refine their business model, improve user experience, and figure out how to make complete strangers feel safe staying in each other's homes. With this new clarity, they secured funding from major venture capital firms, including Sequoia Capital and Andreessen Horowitz. By 2011, Airbnb was going global, spreading across Europe and Asia like an unstoppable travel revolution. And it wasn't just about cheap stays, it was about psychology. They understood that people weren't just booking a room, they were buying an experience, a connection, a story. Of course, not everyone was thrilled about this. Cities cracked down with regulations, hotel industries fought back, and lawsuits piled up. Why? Because short-term rentals, while great for tourists, can mess with housing markets. Places like New York and Barcelona weren't having it. But instead of backing down, Airbnb played diplomat, working with governments to create new rules rather than getting shut out completely. To build trust, they also introduced verified profiles, guest and host reviews, and a secure payment system. Because, let's be honest, nobody wants to roll the dice on a mystery host named Big Jim 99. These features reassured people that they wouldn't end up in a real-life horror movie. And then came the marketing magic. Airbnb wasn't just selling places to stay, they were selling stories. Their Belong Anywhere campaign hit emotional gold, making travel feel more personal, more meaningful. Social media took care of the rest. Viral posts of treehouses, castles, and igloos made Airbnb look like the coolest way to experience the world. Hosts became brand ambassadors, and suddenly, booking a stranger's spare room felt like an adventure rather than a gamble. By the mid-2010s, they weren't just about lodging anymore. They launched Airbnb experiences, guided tours, cooking classes, and other unique activities, turning their platform into a full-fledged travel ecosystem. So, what can entrepreneurs learn from this? First, resilience. These guys faced rejection, failure, and near bankruptcy multiple times, but they adapted and pushed through. Second, trust is everything. Whether you're building an app, a marketplace, or even a cereal brand, apparently, making people feel safe and confident in your product is non-negotiable. And third, storytelling sells. Airbnb wasn't just a business. It was a movement, an idea that travel should be about people, not just places. That's what made it stick. Even now, Airbnb isn't invincible. The COVID-19 pandemic forced them to lay off employees and rethink their strategy. But instead of collapsing, they shifted focus. Long-term stays, digital nomads, and remote workers became their new market. Post-pandemic, they've kept evolving, adding AI-driven personalization, sustainability efforts, and unique travel experiences to stay ahead of the game. From air mattresses in a tiny apartment to disrupting the entire hospitality industry, Airbnb's story is a masterclass in creativity, hustle, and knowing when to sell cereal to pay the bills. I'll leave you to discuss in the comments. Would you have trusted early Airbnb, and what's the weirdest side hustle you've ever tried? Support us by subscribing if you haven't already. Take care of yourselves. take care of your loved ones, and I'll catch you soon in another video.